So one thing I really can't quite wrap my head around is the fact that if we were to think pragmatically, then communism is the answer for so many problems that I just don't understand how, if you have more of a pragmatic, reasonable mindset, how can you still insist that it is not possible, that this is a utopia? Because there is no human nature per se. Like, there are certain qualities people develop in order to adapt to their environment. There is a lot of anthropological research that points to that fact, and I've spoken about some of these works before. And doesn't it make sense that we as species can learn to cooperate? Doesn't it just make sense that without each other's help, we would really not reach that far? Because without each other, we're just these bold little strange monkeys. And our big brain is very prone to all kinds of interesting phenomena like cognitive distortions, seeing things that are not there, hearing things that are not there, being hypervigilant, being overly anxious, or being too reckless, etc., etc. And this is just scratching the surface. And yeah, some of these things may be more modern, but do you think that people would survive if they weren't continuously cooperating with each other in the environment? Like, heck no. We would all be just, our species would just completely die out because we're useless. Like, look at babies. Babies are useless. They're like, when they're born, they can't do anything. And infant mortality of the past shows us that this was a huge problem up until recently. So how can we deny the fact that we need each other in order to survive? How can we willingly decide to sacrifice some of our own in order to have a decent quality of life? Because most of our lives are not decent. Like, tell me, is your life decent? Are you happy? Do you have health care? Do you have leisure time? Do you enjoy yourself? Because for so many of us, every day is just freaking suffering. It's just suffering, and the question arises, why? Why suffer? If you look at it from a pragmatic, evolutionary point of view, communism absolutely makes sense, because communism is a very simple, basically very simple concept that together we can cooperate, we can come up with systems that are going to be helpful. First, it's going to be the majority, and then later, as we keep on building, ideally it's going to be everyone. And that is not talking about a utopia. It is talking about the fact that we cannot predict at the moment how everything's going to be. And we also cannot satisfy every single desire and urge that comes to mind. So if we do end up building towards communism, it's not like everyone's going to be happy all the time. That's not the purpose of communism, to have a happy little life for everyone. The purpose of communism is to diminish the suffering that we can. Like, provide for the dying children, for example, so they're no longer dying. Provide for the sick so they don't feel as sick. That is possible, and that is what I want to put my efforts in.